fantasy, caught in a landslide, no escape from reality.
Hey guys, what's going on? Underground Geek here. So since you guys like this so much, I'm going to talk about this book again. Imaginary Fiends, this is issue number 3. It's not Imaginary Friends, even though I said it was and read it like 4 times and didn't realize that it was Imaginary Fiends. But this is like a joint effort between Vertigo and DC. It is suggested for mature readers only. It's by Tim Seeley, and it's a very, very interesting story. And the reason I say that is because it's very original. It's a grown-up take on Imaginary Friends and the horror that could come from that. Now, some of you guys made a comment earlier that I'm losing my accent. I don't think I am, but maybe I am. Maybe I'm not drawing out my words like I used to on these videos, and I don't sound so country. But that kind of happens a little bit here and there because when you speak more, you know, it kind of goes away. I still think I have a little bit of an accent, but whatever. So anyway, moving into the book, this is a very interesting take because we finally learn kind of how imaginary fiends like manifest. They come from this dark realm. Somebody wishes them into existence, and then they show up at this place called the Falls. And in the Falls, that's kind of Peach Pit, the spider's realm, so to speak. And that's where all the imaginary fiends that accumulate there live. And one day she wished into existence a mate, Charlie Chokecherry, and her name is Polly Peach Pit. So you can kind of see where that goes. He's like the opposite of her. He's a spider male, more of a tarantula type, where she's more of a black widow type. But so then it goes into where she pretty much shows him how everything is. She breathed existence into him. She showed him how to be basically. And so they became very close. They became close with the other imaginary fiends that were there. It shows them hanging out. It tells a story about how she showed him how to live, basically, and then they end up having a relationship together. And they would visit the main character as a kid, you know, and they would scare her and feed off of her fear, feed off of her sadness and loathing. And then eventually she got so addicted to the power of fear that it started to make Chokecherry disappear. And it's because they're both using the power from the same person. And she was using it all up, and he wasn't getting any of the power. So he decided one day enough was enough. So he attacked and forced her to kill her friend, and you know that's where it all backfired. And at that point, Polly Peach Pit wasn't having it. So she threw him back into the dark realm, and he's had a vendetta against her ever since, like a scorned lover. And so that's where he met the new friend, which was Cameron, and now he's all grown up. He's a sister of the victim that died, and he's using him. And I thought this was a female because I drew the face so girly, but now that I can see the whole body, I see that it's a male. And so at this point, we've got Cameron. You know, he's going towards Maiden Springs, which is the same area that they're headed towards. And then we see, I think her name's Lee, with her partner, the detective. This is basically kind of like Fringe, kind of like Warehouse 13, kind of like X-Files. He's teaming up with her because she has the imaginary friend Polly Peach Pit, and they're trying to investigate what's happening. So they're talking to the policeman. He's telling them that basically there's nothing ever happens there, everything's fine, blah blah, you don't need to go there. And that's when she's just kind of like, something's a little strange, you know. And then at that point she gets sick because she was hungover from the night before. Now, this girl has been in a mental institution ever since her friend died. She hasn't experienced life. She doesn't know how to do anything. So when she went out to drink on her own, of course she drank too much, got sick. She's using the alcohol to help silence Polly Peach Pit, because Polly feeds on your emotions, makes you feel a certain way, and that can be uncomfortable. So she's using that to fend her off. It backfired. Now she's hungover and drunk. So she embarrasses herself. And I really felt bad for her too, because she's just trying to do the right thing. And so Polly is feeding off this too. You can kind of see her. She's saying here, she said, "You're bad, Melba. You're weak." She said, "I shouldn't have done that. I know I'm bad and I'm weak." And so that's where he takes her to the gas station, gets her cleaned up. And that's what I'm thinking the whole time. You can't clean up throw up on you. Like, you're gonna have to change clothes. That's gonna smell awful. But so he cleans her up. He's talking to her, and basically it's a little sad right here, because I feel bad, because he basically tells her, he says, "I'm not your mother or your father or whoever acted as your primary morality guide. I'm your partner. It's my job to facilitate and support you in sharing interests of solving cases. I need your eyes, Agent Lee. I don't care what you have to do to make them work for us." And I was like, dang, that's a little harsh. I mean, you took her out of an insane asylum. Be a little bit more caring. Lord. So they're talking more and more about it. She cleans herself up. We have a funny little scene here where she's trying to talk to Polly, and Polly won't listen because she was drinking. So she has to apologize to Polly in a very formal manner, because Polly is very immature. She's like a child. And she needs all that affirmation. A little boy wants to use the bathroom. He's like, it's occupied. And then she comes out and she goes, she tells him, "Hey, Ranger Dave is up to something. You know, Polly noticed it earlier. He started to feel fear, and that made Polly hungry. So something's going on." So then they get in the car to leave. Polly hadn't gotten in the car, so she yells at her to get in the car. Then we have this weird scene where the little boy from earlier that's went to use the bathroom yells out to his dad, "Effing crazy city people, huh, Dad?" And I was like, why is that in there? That was really awkward. So anyway, they're back at the inn where she's been staying. She's trying to study the video of one of the victim's parents. And it hits her close to home, because they start saying all these things about him that makes her feel the same way. And Polly Peach Pit feeds on this. She's kind of like a friend, but she feeds on your sadness and your anger and fear and things like that. So she's trying to console Melba, but at the same time she's feeding off of it. And so that's when Melba makes the connection of the person that went missing and the accumulation of the dates. And it's always on 9/11. I thought that was weird that they picked 9/11 as a date for the murders. That's really weird, but okay. And so she said, you know, something's going on. That's the connection. And then she leaves. And at the same time, the FBI agent is investigating the hills again, or the spring again. And he's, of course, by himself. He's not answering the phone for Melba. And then he sees a guy that's pouring, like, I can't see what he's pouring, if it's bleach or something like that, on some kind of grave. I'm not sure what it is. So he goes running after him. The guy runs off, and then something hits him. I don't know if it's some kind of chemical reaction, or if it's the imaginary fiend that's there has an effect on people with it. But it hits him like a drug. And it said the drug takes effect, and Special Agent Virgil Crockett exists in all places forever at once. He is above the march of time, where there is no concept for where. He is in a barn. Its angles and geometries collapsing under the passage of years and the weight of dust. It smells hot, like life, like breath, like blood. And that's where he sees the dead person there. But at the same time, he sees the dead person in the grave. So it's really weird. And so anyway, we cut back to Melba, and you know, Melba's trying to take a shower because she's got the puke all over her still. And that's when she notices somebody outside, and she's like, uh-oh, that's not right. And then all these weirdos start jumping out of the freaking shower, and they got cat masks on, and I was freaking out. And they're all yelling meow, meow, meow like a bunch of freakazoids. But if you watch the last issue, this will make total sense, because you had that weird giant cat that was like everybody was suckling on and all that kind of stuff, and it was nasty and weird, and they're all like brainwashed now. So they're attacking Melba. They're capturing her, taking her out the window. She actually hits her head, and then that's when Polly Peachpit comes to her rescue. She's trying to save her, but as she's going to save her, somebody says Polly. And at the sound of the voice, Polly Peachpit realized that all her questions were mute. She wasn't the heroine of this story. It was no longer her story at all. And that has to do with, before, whenever Charlie felt the same way. And that's when we get this cool scene of Charlie attacking Polly Peachpit. And so the next issue is going to be a pretty good fight, I guess. But Charlie's a pretty imposing character, obviously, because he's more of a tarantula and she's more of a Black Widow. So this ought to be a pretty good fight. And the catchphrase is War of the Imagination. So that's pretty cool. So that's where you kind of end on a cliff note or a cliffhanger. It's very fun, though. I like this. This is a very cool little story, very original. And I can't wait to see more of it. And now you finally get to kind of see how the imaginary fiends show up, how they wish each other into existence, how they appear out of nothingness, and their very existence is feeding and becoming more and more real. So that's kind of cool. That's a cool aspect to have. But I'm going to keep reading this. It's one of my favorite odd stories. It's kind of like Ragman. I like Ragman. It's kind of odd. But I hope you like this video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be doing my YouTube channel appreciation video later today, where I pick somebody at random and talk about them. And today I think I'm going to talk about Metal Gear X, because I had multiple people tell me to go look at that person's channel. So that's got to tell me something. But hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys later. If you want to, you can support me on Maker Support, which is a fun alternative to Patreon. But I'll see you guys later. Underground Geek out.